Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khushamdi, ji ayanu, goeiemorgen.
Pakhair agele, die hao, zureshumme, washmale, ohio gonzaimis, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifahal, hale shumachatore, alan wasalan marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, and a very amazing good morning to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning alongside the very amazing, the very stunning, the very fabulous Shizza Hashmi and Shahzad Khan. Hello Shizza, how are you today?
I'm absolutely great and thank you so much for the kind words early in the morning.
Well, I think I have to do it every day as well, so I'm very used to it. But you truly deserve that. It's
Thank you
not
so
that
much
I'm
again.
saying just in the air too as well. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we definitely hope that you guys are doing well. It's time to rise and shine. Wake and
Absolutely.
bake, get up, and be more focused about whatever you want to do in life. You're opening our windows of hope to other 46 countries as well. So please make sure, adjust yourself. It's morning over here. If it's evening over there, good evening, good afternoon to everybody as well. But today we come together for a very important program,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. We have never ever done such a program, so we're very thankful and grateful to all those apt cats who've actually made it to the studios today. But before we do that, Shizza over here has got a public service message for you guys. Sorry, Shizza, I am putting you under the spot. Please
No,
go
that's
ahead.
totally all right. But it's not sort of a public service message anyway. It's more like, an initiative that we all need to take individually. I mean, when we are looking at our beloved country, Pakistan, and especially Naya Pakistan, where we have fingers crossed, hope for everything to be better. I mean, when we talk about the economy, men only cannot be, the only earners or breadwinners for the family. Of
Thank
course,
God,
I
thank
know.
God.
No, I happen to know a lot of, empowered women
Yeah.
who are making their name, in terms of their own businesses and everything as well, and whatever jobs they have to themselves,
Yeah.
they pull off very well. So a lot of us need to learn from them and be equal parts of the society as our counterparts.
Exactly, and I think it's very important as well. And the last year, Forbes 30 and the 33 women from Pakistan actually made it to the list of people who were successful entrepreneurs as well, and who's actually had an impact on the society too as well. This is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. So there are people who have had their own startups, and then eventually when you become successful, you're very philanthropic in nature. You want to do good to the society. This is one thing which is very common, and you'll get to hear that from successful businessmen. Oh, since we have done so much, now we want to give back to the society.
Yeah.
So so they're being very cool about it, or either they genuinely want to do something about it. But now
Right.
lately, what has happened is that I came across this WECON. Now, what is WECON? WECON is actually a conference which is for women, basically, because that's what the W is.
All
They
right.
had a very different definition to that. The guests over here, I know that it's very hard for them to hold their quietness, for another 5 minutes because we're still talking. But what they've done is, I think it is going to be very enabling for women of Pakistan as well, because whenever we talk about entrepreneurship, it's a very small circle, first of all, and then not many people succeed in it. In the first
Right.
3 years, everybody's done and dusted and they go back home. Only 10 to 15% of people survive.
Right,
Why do they
absolutely.
survive? There are certain reasons for that. But
And
they,
Shahzad,
yeah.
I'm sorry I'm cutting you, but when we're talking
Sorry,
about
I've
women
prepared so well,
empowerment,
yeah.
wow, women empowerment and women entrepreneurship, of course, today we are definitely celebrating that.
Yeah.
But we are also looking at the issues that still withstand within our society.
Yeah.
But the good thing is when we're talking about the gender gap in entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
it dropped by 6% in the previous year, 2017 to 18,
That's great.
which is, I mean, a great start, but we definitely want the figures to go higher.
Exactly. And then, adding on to that point as well, where you're talking about women too as well, ladies and gentlemen, the global population of women is increasing.
Yeah.
I think that it's about time that women even themselves realize that they really need to put an effort towards
We
the
do.
economy, because it's not just about the household now.
Yeah,
Each and every individual is a citizen. They have got their own equal fundamental rights, which
Right.
whether practiced or not is a different story. But then at the same time, now we have to think on a very macro scale where
Okay.
the economy of the country won't work only if 40% or 45% of the people within the country are going to work. So this is
Right,
one
that's
alarming
true,
point as well. We'll
absolutely.
talk about that. But I think that it's about time that we let our guests speak a little bit as well, because we have actually said quite a lot. On my right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by somebody who's actually the CEO of Change Mechanics Private Limited. He's none other than Mr. Syed Ahmed Masood. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Walaikum assalam ji. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you
Our
very much for
pleasure.
joining us. Wonderful to have you. I always wanted to have gray hair, but it's all right. I don't have hair now. So, yeah, alongside Mr. Syed, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by somebody who's actually the head of the WECON movement. She's
Yeah.
none other than Miss Saira Qayyum. Hello, Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam. Good morning. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you very
having
much
me.
for joining us. Wonderful to have you. The lady sitting right next to Saira, ladies and gentlemen, is very, she's smiling.
Yeah.
So she's very comfortable over here. That's great. She's none other than Miss Shahnaz Kapadia Rahat. She's the CEO of Mera Man Private Limited. Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
How are
assalam.
you, Mera Man?
Very well.
Well, that's great. I think it can work.
But Mera man, you said, so it's your man now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But there can be different dialects as well. You go to US or probably you somewhere in Brooklyn where there are a lot of other people. They're like, "Hey man, how are you?" So that can work too. Okay, but last and not the least, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by somebody who's actually the team lead for Startup.pk. He's none other than Mr. Athar Ahmed. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you very much for having me on the
Thank
show.
you very much for joining us. And I'm not so used to of looking at such cute and amazing boys as
Thank
well.
you
But,
very much
but it's
for the-
wonderful to have you. You look great.
Thank you very much for
But
the compliment.
Mr. Ahmed, we're going to get started with you since it's your brainchild. Please let us, just let us know what it is all about.
You want to know about WECON or change
Yes.
mechanics?
The WECON.
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything will take a few programs.
Well, tell us about the WECON.
So let's talk about WECON movement.
Yeah.
So WECON conference actually started in 2017, and the idea behind that was, so a little bit about myself as well. I think it's relevant here.
Right.
I've been teaching entrepreneurship for something like 20 odd years now,
Yeah.
and I've been mentoring mentors for around 12, mentoring startups for around 12 years.
Okay.
And during this period, a number of issues popped up, which are not specific to Pakistan, but some of them are actually.
Okay.
So one of the things that we felt was that there's a very big disparity among the men who are going into entrepreneurship as a career and the number of women who are entering it.
Yeah.
And when we studied this problem, we thought that probably we need to inspire more women to enter the field,
Yeah.
and that's how that was the genesis of the WECON. Which started off in 2017, and this is going to be the third year.
Yeah.
So we'll talk later more about what WECON movement and how it is different from
Yeah.
the conference.
Yeah.
But the conference has been going great, and it has become a collaborative network of like-minded people, organizations, and associations who all come together to make it an amazing event.
Well, thank you very much for saying that, everybody comes together as well, because ladies and gentlemen, whenever we talk about entrepreneurship, I think that there's one thing, I'm very sorry, but since I have been a marketing major student in bachelor's and master's myself as well, so I've gone through all of those courses.
Okay.
And I don't really think that the type of education we get in terms of being an entrepreneur is actually enough, because there's no practicality to it. It's just books and definitions which really do not let you land anywhere in life. I'm very sorry that I have to
let
take
me
this.
interject on
Yeah,
that
you
point.
can you can definitely, but let me come back to that as well, because whenever we talk about a field which is not adopted by many, why do we have to still concentrate it more on a level where we're just talking about women only now? Don't you think that it always needs to be a very collaborative effort and an inclusive one?
So three questions that have
Sure.
been raised. First,
Take your time,
your
take your
own
time.
your own
It's a morning
personal
show, yeah.
your own personal experience
Yeah.
of studying a subject such as entrepreneurship through books.
Yeah.
And that's my beef with it as well.
Yeah.
So I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for 30 odd years now.
Yeah.
Right. So my other business is an advertising agency which I launched in 1990.
MashaAllah.
And I feel that entrepreneurship is a subject that should be taught by entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I teach entrepreneurship, and I've taught at 2 or 3 of the leading universities in Islamabad, my course is totally practical. The theory is very, very little, but they have to go into the market, they have to launch products, they have to go and do customer research, and that's one thing that is extremely important to do.
Yeah.
The second aspect that I'd like to add is that why we're trying to teach entrepreneurship to everyone, whereas we know for a fact that not everyone is going to become an entrepreneur, and not everyone should become an entrepreneur. But basically the challenge here is that Pakistan needs entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Because entrepreneurs create jobs, and the government alone cannot create sufficient jobs.
Yeah.
Which is why the Higher Education Commission now has almost made it compulsory for bachelors to have entrepreneurship as a program, a course
Outright.
in the program. And that is going to yield results, but we are still in the experimental phase, I would say. Now the question that you have about the gender,
Yeah.
that's a very important question. And
Thank
we
you,
have
I'm known for this, yeah.
we have faced a lot of brickbats on it as well, and we have we have received a lot of compliments on it as well. So
Okay.
2 camps, very opposing camps. And people do say that why do you need to create something separate? Isn't learning business the same for men and women? Generally, yes. 90% I would say yes, but 10% no.
Okay.
In this country especially, women have a lot of other baggage that they have to handle. And that was a part of your opening statement as well when you said women should also pull their weight. That was, I think, I'm paraphrasing it.
Yeah.
And I feel women are already pulling their weight in this country, probably more than their weight in some cases. But we are not opening up avenues for them to actually, launch businesses that scale. We put a lot of extra hurdles in their way.
Yeah.
So one of the challenges that we are looking at is the socio-cultural aspects that sort of prevent women. Ki ji meri beti, meri maa, why would my wife or mother or sister go out and work? Am I not man enough to provide for her? So that patriarchy comes in, and we want to sort of open the dialogue that a woman, if she is able, why shouldn't she be able to do it? And we feel that these hurdles, we need to create a safe space so that women can come together and organizations that are supporting women can come together and they can build these bridges that help these women. And there are multiple things that we are doing regarding that, creating inspiration and awareness, helping women understand how to build a pathway to their own success. So I think that's a pretty long answer.
I think that's a great
Thank you so
initiative
much
as
for
well.
saying that. But moving on to you, Saira, tell us about WECON, the response that you've been getting for the past 2 years. Who are the stakeholders this time and the theme?
Okay. So this time, we actually, selected this theme Khudi, the power of self-belief. Because when we conducted this survey, we found out that self-belief is the real hurdle.
Right.
Skill is not the problem. Females are skillful. Then resources are not the hurdle, basically. But, they can't think big. That's the real problem. We celebrate Western entrepreneurs, but we do not celebrate our entrepreneurs because there was no such platform. So that's why, we actually, thought of this idea that we need this platform so that we can celebrate our local entrepreneurs.
Now, when you say they can't think big, what does that mean?
Because, they think that this is a skill. So, if I have a skill, I can probably, open up a small shop maybe, or I can sell, my things
All they think
at
about
homes
is
as well.
cottage industry, basically.
Yes. Even if, for example, if I can bake, I'll just set up a small, small outlet, or maybe I can sell online. But I can't think like a McDonald's brand. Right? So this kind of, self-belief is lacking in our female entrepreneurs and then overall entrepreneurs as well. So basically, again, I'd emphasize on this point that we basically celebrate Western entrepreneurs. We know about Steve Jobs. Do you know about Shehnaz Rahat Kapadia? She's wonderful.
Yeah, but of course now we know, right? Of course.
But now you know. So we need many such stories and young stories as well. So that's why, we just, talked about this very idea of self-belief this time, Khudi of Iqbal. You can think anything. Sky is the limit.
Of course.
खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रज़ा क्या है.
And you're really right when you talk about they can't think big. That is sort of an issue that does, exist over here, because and that is what you're sort of facilitating as well. Because aim for the moon, even if you miss, you will land on stars.
I don't want to stand alongside, probably land alongside the stars.
Why
I
do you
want
have to
land on the
negate
moon.
everything that I say?
I mean, I'm not negating. I'm just changing the way people think because why do we even have to think that even if we are not going to land on the moon, we're going to land on the stars? So if you have thought about it, just stick to that.
It means something is better than nothing.
Yeah, obviously one thing in hand is better than nothing in both of the hands too as well. But moving on to you, Miss Kabadia. Now, first of all, I want to know about your journey of Mera Maan. How did you conceive this idea? Then how difficult was it to be where you are right now? And then we'll come back to WECON.
Yeah.
Because I want you to inspire a lot of people out there.
So I actually started on the pathway of entrepreneurship in 1986.
Wow, I wasn't even born.
No,
Yeah.
a lot of you weren't. So,
He's lying.
but the idea was when I started, it was also, frankly, I graduated from IBA, so I was trained to be an employee somewhere. But I came here to Islamabad and I got onto the pathway. I became a trainer actually for entrepreneurship. And having started, when I started training others, I felt like, I think I see myself.
Yeah.
And that's how I started. So I started in 1986, set up the company, registered the company in 89, not Mera Maan, but another company. And the company focused on training women entrepreneurs.
Wow.
And I felt that, all of us, we are so blessed. But if I can go to the rural areas and help women there aspire to become an entrepreneur and train them, that would be so much better.
Because they're so talented over there.
They're very skilled.
Yeah.
But the only thing they don't know is how to market.
Right,
So that's how I started. That was the focus of my business. Mera Maan I set up in 2006.
Okay.
When my son died, his name was Salman. So the story of Mera Maan is actually comes from that painful journey. And Man is Salman. And the idea was, how do I give back? So for all those years, it was a consultancy, did well, very well actually. And then I set up Miraman and thought, well, how can I return, give back, contribute, So that is what Miraman is. And Miraman has two arms. We have a training and consulting arm, but we have a social innovation hub. And this the partnership with the WECON is actually to see how we can connect women at the university level, skilled, educated women, with the masses at the grassroots. That's where I come from. That's where my passion is, because there's so many women out there. Just to give you one example, when we were working in Haripur, and this was a very conservative area when we started work in 2000, but they were so skilled. Every single household had 2-3 women who were extremely talented. We initiated an entrepreneurship program, selected a few women there, and now one of those women, her name is Abida, she has 100 women working with her, and she exports. Now this happened through the entrepreneurship training. So if we can take relevant and experiential training, not the academic one, and that's where what our passion has been. And if we can take it to the grassroots level, we can find those women entrepreneurs who can then, find the markets.
Amazing.
Wow, and that is absolutely so amazing. And I'm so sorry for your loss, ma'am, but it takes immense strength for someone to, step up and turn the tragedy into something so fruitful for the society around you. You are definitely inspirational.
Exactly.
But moving on to Athar over here, what is your role in WECON?
So basically the whole vision and the mission of change mechanics. So to support the WECON, we have another platform, startup.pk. So that is another flagship project of change mechanics. So to support the entrepreneurs and the startups, we have built an online knowledge platform. So the best thing about this platform is that it provides the local content. So we have the startups and the entrepreneurs can find the local opportunities. They can find about the startups.
All right, Athar, I'm so sorry I have to cut you over here, but we will definitely get back to you. Right now, we have a small video about women entrepreneurship and women empowerment in Pakistan as well that we need to watch, especially WECON. Let's take a look at this, and then we come back and be in conversation with Athar over here.
Exactly. Good morning.
Welcome back to World This Morning with Shahzad Khan and Shizza Hashmi, where today we are celebrating empowered women and women entrepreneurs as well, and also sort of learning how we can make them believe in themselves first.
Exactly, and it is very essential, ladies and gentlemen, believing in yourself. And before we even got started with the show today, there were two things which I was in discussion with our very apt guests over here. And the one thing was that I opened up my own production house. There was a time in life where I wanted to be a businessman too. And then what happened was that I got a few projects. Unfortunately, the workforce over here, since you do not have any, probably training kind of thing, which, will benefit your employees. So eventually what happens is that, probably they'll just cut off the budgets, they'll do something which is as stupid as shutting down the business too as well. But then eventually what happens is that we still linger on with the hope that it might work, not even considering that, that this is the life of a business, and after this certain period of time you actually have to move on, or probably have to diverse as well. And then it's hard for people to give up, or what will chachi say, what will dadi say, what will nani say. And then some people at that stage of life are getting married, so they're like, well, shadi ho jaye, fir band kar lenge. So you every time you have to come up with a newer idea. But now this is not what the point is where I wanted to take this discussion. The discussion is that NUST actually, I think, hands up to them as well, that they were the first ones to start an incubation standard. HEC followed them as well, and then there are virtual startups as well, as you guys are talking about it. Now there's one thing which I believe, and that is that whenever we talk about people who are actually enabling people to do their own businesses, they take out major chunks as well, and they take out the best of the ideas to their benefit. Now, how do we actually ensure with all of your organizations that you do not take out the major chunk, even in response providing those services, and that you do not steal on all of those brilliant ideas which people come up with?
I like it.
Sorry, but yeah, so I'll start with you.
So
thank you. It's all right.
in the initial days when I saw these women do so well, there was always a part of me that wanted to say that I'll put money in your business, and then when there's profit, because I could see what perhaps she couldn't, or he couldn't, and I would say I would want to, and then I would hold myself, because I would say that no, there can be a potential conflict, and maybe I'm doing this because I want something from him or her. And I stopped myself. I never went into any of those businesses where my, my trainees would invest in. Even though now the entire canvas is different, and people actually invest. And I'm sure that Masood has a different point of view.
Totally different.
But because I was working with people at the grassroots level, people who were possibly not so well off, and who had brilliant ideas, and I could see. And today, mashallah, I'm so happy to say, when I meet them, they have tremendous regard for me, because I never took anything from them.
But there's this other point as well, that if you didn't invest in it, there might be somebody else who was investing in it to take out the benefits. So why not you then?
Absolutely, absolutely. So at that point in time, this was my stance. Today, the stance is obviously not my stance. My stance is still the same. The stance is different.
And I'm sure so let's move on to the other stance, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, definitely. So I have a pretty different point of view.
Go ahead, please.
So first thing, you talked about stealing of ideas. Right. And I think most of the people in the ecosystem believe that ideas generally do not have an intrinsic value without the founder themselves. So somebody who believes in an idea, for example, you launched the production house, many people do that, but only you could have made it succeed. Your employees couldn't make it succeed,
That's
right?
True.
So ideas are worthless without the founder.
Well.
Ideas are bulletproof, that depends.
So once it's out, it's not bulletproof anymore.
No, but there's one thing.
It's not even foolproof.
So one thing I very strongly advise startups and innovators is that if your idea has intellectual property in it, first get it protected, copyrighted, of course. Patented, that's very important. But most of the ideas, 99.99% of the ideas that come across, basically I'm a judge at most of the startup competitions throughout the country. Right? So most of the ideas we come across are not genuinely innovative, but they are suitable for local conditions. They have been enabled because of technology, so they can be done. Now, the second part of your question was that how do you stop people from taking advantage of your ideas? So the first thing we tell people is share your idea. If it cannot be copyrighted, share it so that it improves. People give you feedback, and you probably see things that you could not have seen with your own singular wisdom, and people now are adding value to it.
Right.
So about the question of protecting your ideas, if you're sharing it with people, so it's not protected anymore. And if you're launching a dairy business, somebody else can launch a dairy business, and that's, you know, that's how businesses grow.
Yeah.
So from my advertising agency, probably 7 or 8 agencies have taken root so far. Even though Madam said that the people she deals with are at the bottom of the pyramid and probably not that well off and probably are not that aware of their rights, so are the people at the top from the leading universities as well. They're also not aware of their rights and how to protect themselves.
So that's a big statement.
That's a very interesting thing, right? So for that we run IP and legal sessions. We train them on how to protect their idea. One thing we tell is that, you know, there are two parts to the question that you asked, so I'm going to answer both of them. One is taking investment and one is me being an investor. So I am an investor as well, right? So first, taking an investment, we call take investment from smart money. Smart money is a person who understands the risk, probably can contribute to scaling your business, probably have access to networks that you don't have. So for example, somebody who's building plazas, right, and you're building a tech startup, that person's money will be very troublesome for you, because once you get that investment, the person will ask you for a rent. You know, he's from the rental economy, so he's going to expect a certain percentage every year, even though startups in general and tech startups in particular are very, very risky ventures. So there's if the person who's investing does not understand that 100% of his money or her money will disappear most probably, they should not be taking that risk. Now me as an investor, since I'm dealing with people, one thing, when savvy investors invest, a savvy investor is one who does not take a big chunk of the business, right? You want to let the founder control and own the business. So if I'm investing, let's say, X amount of money and ask, give me 70% of the company, so I'm not a reasonable investor, right? So you have to understand this. This thing you have to sort of negotiate, because this leads to another question of how do you value your company. Every company has to be valued differently.
Okay, I know that my questions have been actually answered very differently as well, but let's not go very deep into that as well.
I do have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead if you want to ask.
But it's, you know, more than a question, it's sort of a situation that I need Athar and Saira to answer over here. So when you're talking about, you know, empowering women, of course, it's great. I know a lot of people, especially from the downtrodden segments of the society, who have some amazing ideas and potential and skills, like you already mentioned, ma'am. But 68% of women, and this is a World Bank report, 68% of Pakistani women who want to, you know, venture into entrepreneurship need permission of some sort to begin with, even to seek loans. How would you convince someone who you see has such a great potential, but there are some cultural issues that withstand? How would you want them to be a part of this? Let's start with you, Athar, or Saira, anyone.
Okay, so let me answer this question. So WECON movement is actually an online portal as well. So we are, you know, working on the local content as well. So if a female can go outside, so we are, you know, developing local content in local languages. So for example, and we are actually moving to districts level as well. So for example, we know, because we started off with Islamabad, but I was receiving, you know, responses from Sialkot, from Faisalabad, from Nowshera, from even Kashmir, from GB as well. So, you know, that's why, you know, it's a difficult thing. I know, I understand that, because starting off a movement from Islamabad, which, you know, people are privileged here, and, you know, people can seriously, you know, come and see what we are doing, but people from grassroots level, yes, they need some, you know, some sort of assistance. So that's why, you know, we are continuously working on developing local content, and with the help of women of influence, we are, you know, working on different circles. So we'll move to these cities and districts, and where we'll, you know, work with the community, so that these women can actually, you know, come up with their ideas in a comfortable environment. So that's the kind of the, you know, planning that we are working on.
So you're basically catering to their needs as well.
Yes,
do you have something to add on to this,
So
Athar?
to add more to Saya's answer, we are providing the services online as well. So if you are not visiting any conference or event, you can visit online platforms like for search the startup.pk. So at startup.pk, we aim to provide and empower the startups by providing the local opportunities, the events, and moreover, we have also startup journey over there. So if you don't have any access to your startup material, so you can visit the website, and there's a proper journey that starts from the vision and goes till the exiting from a startup. Then other than that, we have other opportunities, like we provide you the opportunities, what are the competitions and the events going on in university. Then we promote the initiatives taken by the organizations that are supporting the startups and entrepreneurs. And in the next stage, most probably we are going towards a curriculum development.
Okay.
So we'll be developing a whole curriculum that will be supporting the entrepreneurs and the startups.
Wow,
Yeah.
absolutely love
I
this.
think
Mr.
that's
Parel,
great.
you have something to add on to this.
I was just saying that, you cannot, frankly, you cannot inspire anybody. You can create the condition for them to be inspired.
Right.
And, when we work with women entrepreneurs, stories inspire them, real stories. When they meet role models, that inspires them. And the more role models that are out there, I remember way back, almost 30 years ago, I used to do a radio show.
Okay.
And we used to bring our entrepreneurs to the radio show. And these entrepreneurs in their local language, when they would say that this is how we started and this is how we've succeeded, frankly, the outpouring of interest was just incredible.
Okay.
This is what we want to do with WECON. We want to take WECON down to district level, and let these women see that, if this woman with similar skills could do it, I
Right.
can do it too. And the I can is what we need to inspire, throughout the country.
Yeah, I think that's great as well, but there's going to be a shift. I'm sorry that, I'm going on the other side of the picture, but, for example, whenever we talk about the rural areas, I think that women over there are more empowered, because half of the time whenever you cross by, the women are actually the breadwinners for the household as well, whereas men just sit down all day, do not have to do anything, probably whatever. They sit down in a corner, discuss about politics, go back home, and women are actually doing that. So don't you think that, taking out that kind of workforce from where our agricultural-based economy works will help our economy? Or do you think that we should enable them in a way where it's going to benefit them where they are already working?
So they would continue to remain there.
Okay.
But now if you understand, like land is shrinking, right, per family.
Yeah.
Per family, because of the inheritance. And now more and more women find ways to make income,
meet.
Supplemental income.
Yeah.
So they would need to have other means of earning. I mean, if you look at many of our areas, Multan, Layya, Jamshoro, Hyderabad, you see every household has home-based workers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are women, right? But they are dependent on others. If we can create the entrepreneurial mindset for them, they would become independent.
Exactly.
They would be able to do the entire cycle from opportunity identification to mobilizing resources to actually producing and selling.
Exactly.
Right now, they are confined to one part of the cycle, right? So we need to help them with that. This is why WECON is so important.
Yeah.
If we can take the message down and inspire them, this is how we would.
And this is why I wanted to move on to Saira as well. So Saira, WECON is actually set to take place on this Saturday as well.
Yeah.
What do you think? First of all, how many number of people are we expecting? Just only women or men? And then at the same time, what kind of practices will be taught to all of those people who will be attending the WECON?
Okay, so it's taking place on 13th April, Saturday. There'll be different segments. We'll celebrate female entrepreneurs. So there is one segment known as WECON Awards.
Okay.
We have 4 categories: Best Women in Tech. The next category is Women of Influence. The third category is Best Female-led Startup. And the fourth one is Best Female Social Entrepreneur.
Okay.
So these are the 4 categories that we'll be celebrating. And we are, getting so many applications that I need to sit down again and shortlist the best ones.
It's only 10th of April though.
Yes.
You've got enough time at your place. Yeah.
Yeah, so you talked about how is the response. Response is amazing. Response is amazing. I'm, getting applications from across Pakistan. It's not just Islamabad and Pindi or Karachi or Lahore.
Yeah.
So, WECON Awards, yes, we are celebrating, local female entrepreneurs. Then there are, knowledge exchange sessions.
Okay.
So there's one panel discussion. Again, the theme is Khudi.
Yeah.
And then we have Mentors Lounge, where startups can come and they can, meet mentors and get, an idea of their overall, business.
Yeah.
So we are arranging one-to-one sessions with, mentors as well. So for example, Nicole is coming. She's the owner of Lifology. She'll be advising those who are, thinking of starting their own cafes or restaurants, because this is something that, we actually, we Pakistanis
That's
love
the
to
only
do.
entertainment we have over here, and we are being honest about it.
That's true, yeah.
Yes, so
Sadly.
we have fireside chats, we have panel discussions, we have Mentors Lounge, we have one networking activity as well. There's a network wall there on WECON. So we can just come and you can, you can place your information there. So for example, if you are seeking for help or you're ready to help
Okay.
entrepreneurs. So this wall will definitely help you.
Right.
So yeah,
And there are
some
sessions.
kind of. And then there are definitely, panel
Tech sessions.
and tech sessions as well. Yes.
Okay, and I think it's very important as well for people to be aware of the latest technologies and how they can actually help. And
Absolutely,
it's going to be fruitful, ladies and gentlemen. I think that it's a step forward towards building up an economy which is inclusive as well, and the society is actually going to be on a very brighter and a very positive platform too as well. But now moving on, I want to end up the show on a very positive note, even though we have 5 more minutes to talk about it as well, and that is that first things first. Now I want to touch upon the cultural aspect of where we want to empower women, and then we want them to be actually in a business plan which is very sustainable. But then culturally what happens is that, we have this problem, and I think that we really need to educate women and men at the same time. So men, they start to feel insecure. Women, once, probably I think that they are independent, they do not treat their men very right. That's just a very cultural question, and I think it needs to be put out there.
What sort of women have you been dealing with?
Well, I haven't been dealing with any women. I'm sorry. I mean, that's not the right
Women
thing to ask. What sort of
entrepreneurs.
women you're dealing with?
Women
Come on.
entrepreneurs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But even if we brush it under the carpet, it's still going to be there. We need to be very open about it. We still have people like me. Okay, if in that case, that will help. But how do we change this culture?
So yes, I agree with you that men feel insecure, right?
Yeah.
And why do men feel insecure?
men
But
talking
because we have a
actually.
very unbalanced society,
Yeah.
where women are not being given their due space, and people think that independent women are dangerous women. I totally disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think that by giving women independence and basically financial independence, especially,
Yeah.
that's what women entrepreneurs are supposed to do. You make them more empowered, and you make them more, enabled to make the right decisions when the time comes.
Yeah.
We see so many tragic cases where very highly educated girls who have not been in the workforce in any sense suddenly are left without means, and they are struggling.
Yeah.
So that is one reason why women entrepreneurship is very, very important. And even at a lower level, even if I include, freelancing or earning income from home, that sort of stuff, I would say that women can easily, educated women especially, easily sitting at home, earn a reasonably amount of money
Yes.
from that. So your question is more on how do we change the cultural context.
Yes.
So I think Madam Shahnaz answered it indirectly, which is why we need to create role models.
Yeah.
We always fear the other. We always fear the unknown. We fear what we don't know. So we are fearing what will happen when Aurat Raj actually happens, which was a film by Rangila in the 70s, if you don't know about it, in which everything was ruled by women, and it was a reverse
I need to
universe,
watch
right?
this.
You do need to watch it,
Yeah.
right? So the thing is, we are fearing what we don't know, and we are thinking that, I'm talking from the male perspective, that our power will lessen. I don't think so. I think, and I do not think that women should be working just to, with, the two wheels of the household and expenses and
Boring
meeting.
story,
That's not just the reason why they should be working. They should be working because in Pakistan, we're actually the original and real land of opportunities.
Yes.
There are so many opportunities around us, but we are not taking benefit of them. It's FMCGs, it's foreign consultants. Those people are taking advantage, and our people are fearful and afraid, right? Whereas I think they should be, as you said, a positive note. They should be very positive about the opportunity.
Yeah.
They should realize that if they take the first few steps, they can achieve their dreams. And that is the power of entrepreneurship.
So, to nutshell that, ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Sayyid Ahmed is actually trying to say, don't be a chicken, okay? You make sure that you put in all the effort.
No, but towards the end, Saira, I need you to sort of give out a message to everyone who's watching right now, and invite to who needs to be there at the conference, and even a lot of students who do want to venture into entrepreneurship are watching you right now, so inspire them.
Okay, so if you have an idea and you don't know how to convert that idea into a business, think big will take care of it.
Yeah.
So, if you're a professional or a startup or a student, and I need to just, clarify one thing, that males are also allowed. It's not just for females.
Oh, perfect,
60%
perfect.
females,
I'm going.
40% males. So yes,
Wow.
most welcome.
Wow, thank you
you
so
very
much for
much.
saying that.
So,
Any
ma'am.
one of you?
I just wanted to add to what,
Sure.
because I completely agree with you. Sometimes when you
Thank you.
are used to, kind of asking for money and suddenly you have money, it just creates a particular kind of feeling and power.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to handle that power, it then can be
Okay, so
it
very,
can be
very
negative.
rightly. I think you've said it very rightly. Now let's talk about it the other way. I'm sorry that we have to wrap it up as well. So now, first. Imagine hypothetically you were asking money, okay, and you were asking for money, and I was giving it to you for the last 10 years. Now all of a sudden you have money, and I'm asking for money.
Yeah,
What would
yeah.
you do? Will you give it to me?
Yeah, I would. I would. But
Thank you very much.
but here's the thing. That is part of the training.
Yeah.
That is the beauty of
That's-
it.
that's great,
That
man.
is part of the training. It's called family council.
Yeah.
And the woman is actually shown the you know the
I'm happy I'm going to get
issue
money.
that would arise. That would arise. So it's
Yeah.
through a case study, a role play. She actually learns that this could happen.
Exactly. That's what
And
the
it
point
could happen,
was.
and she can change it. She can change the narrative.
Very nice.
And that's really important.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Athar, do you want to add?
Keeping the time constraint, I would just like it, if you are unable to attend the conference for whatsoever reasons, you can stay tuned to startup.pk and you will upload whatever was the key takeaways from the conference. So that who are not attending, that can see what really happened in the conference.
There's
Amazing.
nothing like attending, right?
Thank you very much for joining us. It was wonderful to have you all. And we hope that you guys had fun too as well.
Absolutely, and this is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. WECON, they said you have to dream big and we will make it happen.
Exactly.
So you do need to stay tuned to this one as well. And they've already mentioned if you cannot make it to Islamabad this weekend, you can definitely catch the details on the website as well.
Exactly. So please make sure that you write to us on our Facebook page, which is with the name of
Well This Morning.
on Twitter,
Well This Morning without a G.
on Daily Motion and YouTube.
Also Well This
And
Morning.
this fabulous repeat's going to be where?
11 p.m. tonight.
Tonight. Till the next time, 1, 2, 3. Good
morning.
morning. Thank you very much.